Thank you. That's definitely time for a change of pace, I think. This is where it all started, in Morston, in North Norfolk. When I was 40 years ago, and I would see people setting off in their little boats and sailing down the creeks across to Blakeney Point, only a mile away, but it felt like they were going on this big voyage I wasn't doing. And now, after living away from the sea living by the sea for all my life, I've never been in a boat, hardly ever been in a boat since I was a child on Morston Marshes. But now, whenever I look at the sea, I had this urge to get on the sea and be out there exploring. I decided, had a few boats, never had quite the right boat, and eventually I decided I had to build my own boat to get the sort of boat I wanted. The boat that I could sail and row, was going to be seaworthy enough to look after me if I made mistakes. And the only way to get that, I decided, was to build it myself. Here's the boat being built, and it took me about 2.5 years, and sometimes it was an absolute pain. I was just wanting the damn thing to be finished so I could go sailing. But most of the time, it was a great adventure in itself, just taking bits of wood and plywood and doing the right things to them and turning them into a beautiful, functional object. One day, last May, I got to launch the boat and just took her down to the beach, into the water without any ceremony at all. And ready to set off across the Firth of Forth. What I find is I can go out, because it's designed for sailing and rowing, I can go out any time, most of the time, whatever the weather's like, even if there's no wind, which is almost the best time actually to go out on your boat. And just drift along gently and discover familiar places from unfamiliar perspectives. Discover things I didn't know about Edinburgh, like all these people who go fishing in little corners like that you can't see from anywhere else. Someone else mentioned that harsh winter. Well, this is the same winter, and I had to clear snow off the launching ramp to get out onto the water and go rowing, and had the real opportunity to get out and see Edinburgh from really strange places and see the wonderful landscape in different ways. But sometimes the weather's not kind, and this is the day I went to North Berwick, which is 18 miles along the coast from Portobello, sailing and rowing all the way. Started off rowing in flat calm, ended up coming in here between all the islands in really strong wind and ducking and diving with the map in one hand as trying to dodge all the rocks. Doesn't have to be solitary. I'm also involved in rowing with the Scottish Coastal Rowing Association boats. Here are the 2 boats we have at Portobello. And it can be a really social activity as well as a solitary activity. These are really great boats designed based on a design from Fair Isle in the Northern Isles. And anyone can row these boats, have a really great experience out in the weather, which doesn't always have to be quite as rough as that. And we have people out there who are rowing, who are rowing and using the boats, so wheelchair users, someone who's blind. But a couple of weeks ago, I needed to spend more time doing this stuff than just the odd half afternoon grabbed here and there. So I headed off to sail and row along the Great Glen. Someone else was talking about running it the other way. Started off, the weather was absolutely filthy, and I thought, what the hell am I doing here? Am I actually going to survive this? Am I going to, is this going to be any fun at all? But it was. Here I was sailing in company with about 12 other boats along the Great Glen as part of Sail Caledonia, which is a sort of an organised raid along the Great Glen, along canal and lochs. So we had rowing races along the canals, and being designed for sailing and rowing, I was quite pleased that my boat did reasonably well, considering that I was one of the few people actually rowing single-handed. Most boats had more than one person in them. And there's something really magical about sailing up onto a very inaccessible beach and just having a lunch and sitting under the trees and chatting with all these people who've come from far and wide to sail in this really beautiful landscape. We have people in boats from France and Sweden, someone from Greece. Here's my little boat with the tent I made the day before I left, which more or less stayed up, and it wasn't all hardship. In the background, you can see the barge, which is the sort of the mothership where we had a good meal every evening, and there was a bar, which was great fun. Setting off down Loch Ness, the winds were very light in the morning, but they soon got up. So I was setting off with full sail, and the winds got stronger and stronger, and I was absolutely bowling down Loch Ness with all the sail up, and thinking this is fun and quite cool, and I should have reefed. But I was racing, so I didn't. This is coming another stop for lunch at Castle Urquhart. That's not my boat, that's someone else's boat. I was already in there because I'd come second. So there wasn't the photograph of me coming in. So that was quite exciting again. Down, heavy wind, then cutting in behind the castle, all squally and stuff. After lunch, we set off again. Wind was rising up to force 5 or 6, and 1 metre waves at the north end of Loch Ness, all being piled up down there. I was sailing faster than I'd ever sailed before, and I made it. I did capsize, but I made it. And here we are at North Cassock, where we finished the raid on the other side of Scotland. And I really could not believe that I had travelled from one side of Scotland to the other, from sea to sea, in a boat I'd actually made myself, and it worked. So the next time that you're sitting looking at the sea and wishing you were on it, don't keep on wishing. Find a small boat, get in it, get out there, and have fun. And you can do that. Find sailing clubs which have boats that you can hire, or you can use as party membership, and try rowing with the coastal rowing groups as well. Thank you.